I'm a very old man. I don't know how old. I think I'm 100 years old, or even older. I don't know because I've never aged like other men do. I have always been a man of about 30 years old. As far as I can remember. I look the same now as I did 40 years ago. Still, I feel like I can't keep living forever. I will die the real death that I can't get away from one day. I don't understand why I should be afraid of dying. I am still alive after having died twice. This story is something I've never told before. I know that people won't believe things they don't understand. Couldn't explain what took place. I only know about the 10 years my body was in an Arizona cave before it was found. I'm John Carter. Virginia is where I'm from. I didn't have a place to live, money, or work when the Civil War ended. I thought the best thing to do would be to look for gold in the American Southwest's big deserts. I looked for gold for almost a year with Captain James Powell, who was also from Virginia and used to be a soldier. We were really lucky. We found rocks that had gold in them in the winter of 1865. Powell was trained to be an engineer for mines. He told us that in just 3 months, we had found gold worth more than $1 million. The work moved slowly, though, since there were only 2 men and not much tools. We decided Powell should go to the nearby settlement to get tools and people to help us with the work. Powell said goodbye on March 3, 1866. He took his horse and rode it down the mountain to the valley. I kept track of his progress for hours. It was clear and beautiful when Powell left, as it is every morning in the deserts of the Great Southwest. Not long after that, I looked across the valley. I was shocked to see 3 riders where my friend and I had last seen each other. I thought for a while that the 3 riders must be angry Indians after watching them for a while. I knew Powell was a skilled soldier with a lot of weapons. I knew he would need my help, though. It didn't take me long to find my weapons and saddle up my horse. Then I sped down the path Powell had taken. I ran after them as fast as I could until it got dark. The moon got very bright around 9 o'clock. It was easy for me to follow Powell's trail. I quickly found the path that the 3 riders who were following Powell had left. Were they Indians? I knew it. I was sure they wanted Powell to be caught. I heard shots far ahead of me all of a sudden. I ran as fast as I could. I soon reached a small camp. In the middle of the camp, there were several hundred Apache Indians. Powell was lying on the ground. It wasn't even on my mind what to do. I just did it. I took out my guns and started shooting. The Apaches were caught off guard and ran away. I pushed my horse into the camp and towards Powell. I grabbed his belt and pulled him up on the horse. I pushed the horse to go faster. They saw that I was by myself now and started to follow me right away. Soon, we were in some very rough land. The path I picked started to go up quickly. It kept going up. I kept going along the path for a few hundred meters longer until I reached the opening of a big cave. It was getting close to morning. Powell was lying on the ground when I got off my horse. I attempted to give him water. But it didn't help. Powell was no more. I put his body down and kept going to the cave. I went into the cave to look around. There was a safe place to defend myself, or there might have been a way out. I fell asleep quickly. It felt good to be there. It got very heavy inside me. It was hard for me to move. I had to lay down against the cave wall soon. I couldn't move my arms or legs for some reason. I laid down facing the cave's entrance. I could see some of the paths that brought me here. I could now see the Apaches. They found me. I couldn't do anything, though. One of them came into the cave in less than a minute. He looked at me, but didn't move towards me. His eyes got really big. He opened his mouth. He looked scared on the outside. He took a quick look behind me and then ran away. I heard a low sound behind me all of a sudden. Everyone else in the Apache group could too. They all turned around and ran away. The sound got stronger. I still couldn't move, though. It was too dangerous for me to turn my head to see what was behind me. I laid like this all day. I tried to get up over and over, but I still couldn't. After that, I heard a sharp sound. It felt like a steel wire broke. I stood up quickly. The wall of the cave was behind me. I took a look down. My body was lying there in front of me. I stood there and looked at my body for a while. I just couldn't touch it. I was really scared. I had to leave because of the sounds in the cave and the sight of my body. Slowly, I moved back to where the cave opened up. I looked out at the night in Arizona. There were a lot of stars out there. I looked at a big red star as I stood there. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. The red planet Mars was there. Mars is the red god of war. It made me feel like I should get close. After that, I closed my eyes for a moment. At one point, it was very cold and completely dark. All of a sudden, I was in a deep, peaceful sleep with no dreams. When I opened my eyes, I saw a very strange land. I knew right away that I was on Mars. I never had any doubts about this fact. Like how your mind tells you that you are on Earth, mine told me I was on Mars. You and I both didn't question the truth. There was a bed of yellow grass that went on for kilometers around where I was lying. It was almost noon, and the sun was shining straight at me. It was nice. I chose to look around for a while. I jumped to my feet when I got my first Martian surprise. I rose about 1 meter into the air on Mars because I was trying so hard to stand up. I did, however, land softly on the ground without any problems. I learned that I need to start over with learning how to walk. On Earth, my muscles were used to the weight of everything. Mars is not as heavy. When I tried to walk, I jumped and hopped, which launched me into the air. I fell and hit my face. I quickly learned that moving around on Mars was a lot easier than it was on Earth. There was a small, low wall close to me. I slowly walked up to the wall and peered over it. It was full of eggs, some of which were already cracked open. They had little green creatures in them. Their eyes were very red when they looked at me. While I was looking at the scary-looking things, I didn't notice that 20 grown-up Martians were coming up behind me. They showed up out of the blue. I saw them when I turned around. One was coming at me with a big spear that had a pointy end aimed at my heart.